I'm just going to let you know right off the bat that this is just like I said, this is just something I wanted to give to you guys. If you're somebody who doesn't believe in manifestation, I still tell you to stick around and you can kind of utilize it in a different way if you want. And I also did make a guide for you. It's just a short one. It's going to hit the topics we hit today. It's going to have good reminders, a couple manifestation techniques, if you will, and just help you get on the path, getting some big bucks in your pocket. There's a well-known phenomenon in manifestation where you can manifest money. There's people who have manifested winning the lottery, for example, but they still have money blocks, which means that the money doesn't really do them any good when they get it because they don't know what to do with it. They're not vibrating at the same energy level as the money. So that could be what happened to you. It does take a little bit when you're first starting out. Drop your manifestation stories. Let me know when you kind of like knew that was going to be a thing. Like, for instance, one of my favorite was my husband was like, he woke up one day, he's like, I just feel like I want to get a chainsaw. We didn't have one. We don't really cut trees, but he just was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go out and buy a chainsaw for myself this week. I've been looking at this one and I really like it. And I think it was the next day or the day after, our neighbor from across the street walked over and was like, hey, do you want this chainsaw? Because he's like an older gentleman and he pays for a tree service now. So he literally gifted my husband a brand new chainsaw and the one that he wanted. So I was like, okay. And I mean, I've had many things. My dog is a product of manifestation, but sometimes you got to be careful how you manifest. Because I asked for a black boxer dog. Okay. Black is a hard color to find in boxers if you know anything about it. It's actually not black, but whatever. Anyway, black boxer dog who would be like a super cuddly dog, but then like bite people if I took him over a run with me. So like he would protect me. But it turns out he was all of those things. Black boxer, the most cuddliest dog in the whole entire universe. But he does try to eat anybody who gets near me. So, I gotta be more specific next time. We're gonna talk a lot about that. I'm in my new little corner nook. I call this my stoner nook. There's so many things I'm going to do with this fucking box. Everybody's like, what is this box? And I'm like, mainly it was designed as a closet and like a place for my clients to watch their reveal because my big screen's right across the room. And yeah, but really I made a stoner nook. Yeah, as a Buffy understands. Basically I'm harking back to like my teen years, which was the 90s, and I wanted to have a bunch of stuffed animals. Well, I have a bunch of stuffed animals, but I wanted a place for them because, 40-year-olds definitely need stuffed animals. That's why I always tell people, I'm like, I don't need kids. I am a kid. I'm still fucking crooked. If you don't know what manifestation is or you've never heard of it, is the idea that you can influence your reality. And I remember the very first time I've heard of manifestation was about like 5 years, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I had a friend on my timeline posted a picture with a car and like 2 boats. No, 2 cars and a boat rather. And she just put, I just paid my house off. I bought the car of my dreams. My husband got the car of his dreams. And we finally got the boat. We all won it all within a year. And it's all thanks to one book. And I'm like, bitch, I'm not saying I believe in like easy stuff, but like what book are we talking about? So, and then she introduced me to The Secret. At the time, I actually thought like I read The Secret and I was like, I kind of get this. Looked really deeply into it. And you started noticing synchronicities, which are these little events in life that lead up to these things that you want, that you can influence your own destiny, that it's not written, that if you want something you could bring it into. And if you really, really break it down to like all the woo-woo stuff aside, your perspective alone can change a lot about your life. If you have something bad happen, like for instance, I got laid off from a job. I worked as a supervisor from home, a very comfortable job. I got laid off after I think 11 or 12 years and I was devastated. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And at the time I was like, this could be bad. But really I had manifested exactly what I wanted to go full time. It was something that I had written down and talked about. And I didn't realize what I was doing at the time. But when that opportunity happened, I was already vibrating at the same level. And I was able to just kind of jump into the role of going full-time photography. Now I'm going to talk more about what that means, vibrating into the level, because like that's confusing for people. It's one of those things where if you're not ready, if you're not open to things, you may miss opportunities that you didn't even realize you had to begin with. I want to know, like I'm polling you guys, give me a percentage, how much of your conscious, like how much that you're aware of, decisions are made by your conscious. In other words, what percentage of your brain that you're aware of makes your decisions? I'm gonna blow you away with this. I read this and I was like, that's gotta be like not actually based on facts. So I went and read through some peer-reviewed like neurological studies and stuff. And the amount of your brain that you use consciously to make decisions is about 5%. That means 95% of the decisions you make are not actually made by your conscious brain. A lot of times when you have a gut feeling or you just do something, that's because your conscious has already supercomputed all the possibilities and knows what's going on. You're just kind of along for the ride. These are made by your subconscious, meaning you're not even aware of what they are. You guys realize that you have only a small percentage of reality, then you got to figure out how do you tap into that 95%. Part of your brain's going to be functioning like your organs and keeping you breathing and your hormones regulated. I'm talking about tapping into your subconscious level so that you're able to make decisions subconsciously towards the things that you want. You can believe that it's the power of the universe. You can be like me and believe that we all live in a supercomputer. I digress. You could believe it's a religious thing, spiritual thing. The reality is we don't understand the majority of the decisions that are made or how they're made. What this kind of does is it taps into that. The very first thing you want to do, start getting things that you want, is to visualize what those are. You have to know what you want. And I was kind of laughing the other day because I don't know in this juncture in my road of life what direction I want to go. And I'm kind of like just doing doing something every day and just kind of seeing what happens. I'm at the point now where I believe in the power of the manifestation. I'll be where I need to be, that I've just kind of given that all my power. So you need to know what you want. This is exactly what I want. You can't just be like a blanket statement like, I want to be rich. Well, what is rich? What do rich people do? What would your day look like? What would you drive? Who would you hang out with? What are your hobbies? You need to be broader in what you want. You also need to be specific. If you want to be rich, you need to define what that is, because let's say that you are like, I want to be rich. The universe is like, okay, cool. Well, I'll give you $1,000. It's rich, right? No, like I want to wake up every morning and walk out into my balcony on Bali and fucking let my titties hang out. You want to sit down and figure out what it is that you want, where you want your life to be. If you can't visualize it, the universe ain't gonna be able to figure it out either. So let's say we're being specific. I want to be a photographer that makes money is not specific. A very specific thing to say would be, I want to be a photographer who earns $350,000 a year while helping out clients to, connect them to their body. Or I want to be a famous photographer that's well known, my prints on people's walls, and I'm earning this. And really more specific on what you want. And the big thing, and this is going to be the biggest thing for people. The problem is when people think with manifestation that you can just want something and it's going to magically appear, and that's not how it is. Talking about how you are vibrating on different levels. I actually am like a quantum physics geek. This shit just fascinates me. Everything at its base level is a subparticle. So imagine a rubber band that you flick like this. That's your vibration. Everything has it. Everything boils down to energy. There is no such thing as money. There's no such thing as time. Everything is energy. If you do something for somebody, okay, you're giving them a piece of your energy, and then they're taking the energy that they receive from you. Maybe they're giving it to somebody else, but you're just swapping energy. When you're getting paid for something, money is just a physical representation of the energy that you put in. Not be passive. Want to manifest something, you have to work. It's not like I can just sit around. You might have a miracle happen where you just happen to get a thing. Oh, I really want money, and then like somebody gives you money, but maybe you're not ready for it. You don't know what to do with it, or maybe the opportunity that you want presents itself, but you're not at a level to accept it yet. So you have to constantly putting in the work. Focus on the outcome rather than how. So basically, in other words, when you're doing these passive exercises, you want to focus on what your outcome is going to be. So if you're a person who wants to be a $350,000 photographer, you want to focus on what you're doing, okay? This is what a $350,000 a year photographer does. Doing continuing education. They're putting their work out there. They're following up with their clients. They're offering these luxury products. They're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing whatever. You don't have to know the exacts of how do they get clients? How are they making that much? What are they doing per their session? Nobody gives a fuck. Don't worry about that. All you want to know is putting yourself in a person that you want to be shoes. So you want to be a $350,000 a year photographer, you got to show up every day as you already are a $350,000 a year photographer. You can't sit around on your ass and just expect somebody to come and be like, here's some money. It's not going to work like that. So you have to put in the work. Yes, it's work, but at the same time, you're putting in focused work. So a really easy way to think of some steps that you can do towards your goal is to 1, visualize, 2, be specific, and 3, figure out the how of that manifestation. You want to be a person who's famous on Instagram, okay? then that's what you put out to the universe. I want to be this Instagram model and I want people to give me, this much money a year and I want my post to be worth 10 grand. And okay, cool. So what do you think a person who already has that does? Because I can tell you it's a lot of stuff. People want to be $1 million person, but they don't want to show up with the energy of $1 million person. You can't just do that. Once you're open, once you're ready to level, then when the opportunity presents itself, you're going to fucking stroll right in. This group is an excellent example. One of my things that I was manifesting was being an educator. Whenever some bad shit went down in a different group and it disbanded, the first thing it was is somebody reached out and said, hey, create a studio design group so we have some place to catch the people from that group. Okay, cool, whatever, no big deal. And then here we are now. If I hadn't been putting in the work, working to be an educator, learning, teaching myself, training, and all that shit, when this happened, I would have been fucked. I've been like, okay, here's a group, bye. I don't know what to do. It really helps that you start thinking like a person who has the things that you want to have. Start small. You want to be a $350,000 a year photographer? Me? Hi. Plus, then you have to start small. You're not going to get my secret sauce off of 5 minutes. You look at me and go, okay, what does Elena do? I know Elena practices a lot. Okay, you know what? I'm going to start practicing more and up my skills. Elena's always talking about education. I'm going to invest in some education. Little things like that. You don't need to know what every fucking step I did to get here because different opportunities are going to open up to you as you go along. You just have to be putting in the energy that you are telling the universe, like, look, I'm here. This is what I want. Bring it to me. The big thing here, you don't know what you don't know. It's like the Dunning-Kruger effect, and I talk about Dunning-Kruger effect all the time. If you don't know what that is, it's basically like, remember when you started photography? You took some pictures and they were fantastic, and you're like, look at these fucking pictures. I'm a natural. Look at the talent I have. It's fucking awesome. And then fast forward a year when you actually understand exposure, triangles, composition, colors, and everything else, and you're like, holy fucking shit, there's so much I don't know. There's so much I don't know. When you're in that beginning part of that Dunning-Kruger where you're super confident in your work and your work sucks, it's because you have no idea what makes it good. You don't know what it is. As you progress and learn what is good, then you start looking back and going, oh fuck, I really made some mistakes. I made some super bad mistakes. And don't get me wrong, we've all done it. I've done it. I look at my work now and I know that my work is upper tier. Like it is. I'm sorry. I put a lot of work into it. I practice. I know it is, but I fucking hate 99% of my work because there's always something I'm like, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I've been doing this for 16 years, almost 17 years. I still learn something new every day. People always tell me, they're like, Elena, how do you know everything? I'm like, because I fucking always screw everything up. That's why. So if you want to be a person that's making money or doing whatever your manifestation is, you need to live like you already have everything that you want. And there's a reason for that because we get so discouraged when we put all the work in and we don't see that payback. But what we don't understand is a lot of times that work is getting us ready for something down the road that we can't even fucking fathom. And if we get discouraged, we may never hit that opportunity ever. And I mean, at this point, I'm like, if it's a weird thing that challenges me, I'm doing it. Like, I might suck, but I'll do it. I don't care. Here's the thing I said, and I was like, this is what makes so much sense to me. I'm just going to read it. People want the reward first before hard work. Want the reward first in order to put in the effort when they really need to be focused on putting in the effort as if the reward has already happened. So I see this a lot with people who are just starting out. They're complaining that they're not getting bookings. People are being active in their group. And when I always ask a question. If you ever ask a question, I usually ask a question before I answer. So my first question is, what are you doing to get that? Are you putting in the work and waiting and knowing that you're going to have the outcome? Are you waiting for the outcome to get started? Because if you're waiting for the outcome to get started, it won't. It won't because you got to put the work in. People want to go from this point A to this point Z mentality. You cannot do that. Okay? You can't do that. Put the work in first and then know that you're going to get the reward on the back end. So like for instance, if you were a doctor, could you imagine being a doctor and being like, I want to be a doctor. I'm not going to go to school. I'm just going to gather some information off of some people. I'll just, if a really good photographer charges this much because they have this much skill, I'm going to go ahead and just charge this much with no skill. No, it's fucking stupid. Don't do that. What you need to do is what the doctor did. Focused on their education. They went and put hours of internship in where they didn't get paid. They did their skill. They worked, practiced. They actually acted as if they were already a doctor because they know that they're going to be. And guess what? They're going to roll right into it. And it's the same thing for photography. If you want to be somebody who's busy and taking clients and making money, then you need to be somebody who's busy taking clients and making money. Sitting on the couch and reading a guide isn't going to do a shitting thing for you. That's God's honest truth. You may not have any idea where to start, and I think that's what people get hung up on. Don't worry about it, just start. Start anywhere. Start fucking anywhere, do anything. Like I said, use that visualization from your first step to figure out what that next step might be. If I want to be somebody who's making $350,000 a year, then there's things I know that those people do. I mean, I know that they're continuing their education, they're learning, they're marketing, they're out there talking to their clients, pulling their clients in, sharing this, doing that, right? So if you want to be that person, you got to be that person, right? Fake it till you make it. I think that's bad advice. I do. I don't think you should ever fake it till you make it. I think you should feel it and then fucking figure it out. If you fake it and you're pretending to do something, then you're not really doing it, right? And especially with the kind of genre that we're in, there's a lot of bad. I've had many people come in and had a horrible experience with boudoir photographers who didn't know what they were doing and gave them worse self-esteem than to begin with. So in that regard, I don't think that's a good thing. Work it till you make it. Yes, absolutely. Practice till you make it. I appreciate you guys so much when you tell me I'm talented, but I actually kind of take it like an insult because I'm not talented. I didn't come out of the womb knowing how to light stuff. That's me busting my ass, putting in 4 hours of fucking, every other night playing with lights, doing education, reading things, and practicing and doing real practice and going, what would this person do? How would this person do it? And then just putting that in over and over and over until I get a result that makes sense. Okay? So there's a big difference there. Someone once told me, face it till you make it, show up, face it, and then go until you make it. Yeah, absolutely. Fake the confidence, but not the work. And that's okay too, because a lot of us have issues with that. I mean, even me being on a live right now, I'm anxious, and it has nothing to do with being on the live. I just am an anxious person as a human. This is who I am. If you ever wonder how to be something, I want to be a fit person. Okay, show up every day as a fit person. What does a fit person do? And this is a thing I told myself the other day. And this sometimes I have to have a come to an Elena. Okay, and I'm like, girl, I was like, okay, I've put on 10 pounds in the last couple of months. And that's fine. I don't give a shit about I like my body, okay? I don't care about my weight or any of that. But with my chronic pain, any extra weight, I can tell almost immediately when I gain weight. 5 pounds, 10 pounds is like me. I might as well put on a fucking backpack, okay? So I was thinking, I'm like, I've been somebody that struggled with my weight. What can I do? I don't know. And I'm like, what would a person who's never struggled with their weight do? How would they eat? How would a healthy person who's taking care of their body eat? What would they do? Would they sit on the couch and watch TV all day like you do? Or would they get up and do some stretches maybe? Maybe I know at least they would get up and do a little exercise, right? And I'm not saying you need to be a fucking fit person on a stage in a month. It's not going to happen. But every day you just show up and you work toward that goal, and then it will start to transform into what you want. Imagine what now? I once saw a video that said, imagine that a videographer is following you around every day to document your success story. Live that way and do those things that you'd want people to see. I love that. That's actually a great idea. And I keep trying to explain to people too that reality is perception. So some people will look at something and they see it one way, and another person will look at something and they see it a different way, and both are right. That's why reality isn't really even a thing. We do it all the time with our cameras. Okay, we take what a client thinks is a reality, and then we flip it on its head and go, here, look, this is what you actually look like. This is how you actually move. And they're like, what? So it's just, this is one of those things. Okay. So the next thing, I really wish I could fucking read my own handwriting. Oh, okay. So don't get attached. This is another big one for people. So if you have an idea, like with the example earlier of the $350,000 a year photographer, you might envision it being $350,000 a year in photography. And in your brain, you're thinking taking pictures. And the universe may present it in a different way. Maybe you'll get a commercial job where you make a good amount of money. Maybe you'll be asked to speak somewhere and make money that way. Maybe you'll come out with a fucking educational course. Who knows, right? So if you start getting attached to one idea, well, I'm only going to be happy if I get this, then you close yourself off to those possibilities, okay? That one's very simple. Then the next thing is, once you have this vision, you have this idea of what you want, you have to let it go. You have to be happy with what you have right now, because you will miss the things around you if you're not grateful for them. And that's fucking shame, because there are so many times I've seen people who won't start doing something because everything in their life hasn't lined up. And that doesn't work that way. I started shooting out of a base house in Montana. I had to sign people on a base to come shoot at my fucking space. All right. I didn't worry about it. I just did it. Okay. So stop worrying so much about that. Let it go. Put it out into the universe. Like, I want to be a $350,000 a year photographer, and you still show up every day as them, but you don't worry about whether you're getting it, when it's coming, how it's going to come. All you know is you rest assured that when you put the work in, it's going to manifest itself in the way it's supposed to. And that's really all it is. I kind of coming back to, if you put too much of a constraint on it, then you're not going to open yourself up to this possibilities. And then you might not even be ready for them when they come. So let it go. See the wealth that's around you. Wealth has nothing to do with money. It's health, it's family, it's friends, it's the privileges that you have in your life. Everybody has something that they can leverage. I had a house on a military base. That was my leverage. And I didn't have money to go get a studio. If I had waited to go get money to get a studio, I wouldn't be where I am today. So you have to just truly believe that you're going to get it. Don't get discouraged and expect it to be like in a year. It might be tomorrow, who knows? But when we get discouraged, we stop trying to manifest that, and then we're back to square one.